The passion, the topics, is what we do on the SportsGrid Network. We love to hit those, and if it strikes a nerve, good, because that's what it's supposed to do. For me, I don't like the New England Patriots as an organization. Don't like Robert Kraft, don't like Tom Brady, don't like any of the Patriots that say, hey, Gronkowski's on TV and Edelman and Brewski. We're tired of hearing about stupid stories from the early 2000s about the Patriot way. But understand this. I also understand that Tom Brady's the single best football player I've ever seen as long as I've been walking this earth. So there is a respect on that where this guy is a trained killer, and he's going to get ahead any specific way he can. But understand this, Joe Ranieri, that we just talked about in the previous segment. There's ways the NFL can get around this, and there's ways the NFL just to say, hey, you can't have it both ways. What is so hard about this? Hey, Tom, if you're going to own a team, you can't be in the broadcast booth, and you just can't be mingling with the players. You're an owner. Act like it. Cool, right? Or, hey, Tom, sell your share in the organization. You can be a coach. You can interview whoever you want. You can do whatever you want at this point. You can't have it both ways. Why are we doing this in the NFL where Tom Brady is looking to have it both ways? Because the whole drama started where Tom Brady's in the coach's booth with a headset on as an owner and a guy that calls football games. This can't happen. The optics are terrible, Joe.
And it's so funny, Donnie, because in a league who was so adamant over the years about protecting the shield, the image, right? What people think, right? Perception is reality. And yet on a Monday night game in front of a national audience, we're cutting away to Brady with a headset on in the coach's booth when he is part of the Fox broadcast team, who also, by the way, allows him to be able to sit into production meetings and get to see and talk to the other team that's going to play the Raiders and so on and so forth. So this is all created. Don't forget, he signed the deal to be a broadcaster before he ever bought in to the Raiders. So he had already decided, I'm going to go into broadcasting after playing. And then it wasn't until after that where he's like, hey, Mr. Davis, you want me to be part? I'll be part owner too. You allowed this from the get-go, the NFL, and this is what you deserve.
And I understand this. Can we post that graphic here from The Athletic? Because I just want it encapsulates everything that the NFL should be worried about. You see the James Palmer tweet at the bottom. Tom Brady meets with Chip Kelly 2 to 3 times a week to go over film and go over the game plan. Keep in mind, he's the owner. And every weekend, Brady is calling a game for Fox, gathering as much information and intel as he can to broadcast it. Then The Athletic, with the quote tweet, basically says, this Sunday, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady will call America's Game of the Week on Fox when the Dallas Cowboys visit the Chicago Bears. Chicago's Week 4 opponent, Vegas. He can ask questions, what to look out for, what to do, translate that information back to his team for a competitive advantage. I don't understand. It's almost the equivalent of insider trading, which you cannot do. I'm going to play both ends of this. I'm going to gather intel, and I'm going to share that intel with my team that I have a vested interest in. Some people might say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. The optics are the big deal. What does the NFL always try to, be the caretaker of? If somebody is gambling in the NFL or information is getting out, we're not going to allow that, because even if it doesn't influence the game, Joe, you have an influence over the public and the betting public and everybody thinking things are rigged. This has to stop, and it's a simple choice. Tom, do you want to own a franchise, or do you want to be a part of the NFL? You can't have it both ways. You can't.
And for those of you that might not completely understand what we're talking about here, take, for instance, this week, Brady's going to be in Chicago because he's going to be calling the Cowboys and the Bears game, all right? All right, so what's the big deal? That has nothing to do with the Raiders. Right. Except for next week when the Raiders are playing the Bears. And guess who gets to have complete access in that Cowboys-Bear game as a broadcaster to everything the Bears are doing? And do you not think, after watching him with a headset on, that he is not taking notes, and he is essentially, Donnie, a roving spy for the Raider organization, where he can take all the inside knowledge he gets as a broadcaster and also relay that over to Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll and company? It's just, the optics are horrific.
Did you also see where the NFL was trying to make up the the landscape of, it's okay because he can talk to the players on the phone as long as he doesn't meet with them in person. What does that even mean? That doesn't even make sense. Do you remember in the past, it's like, okay, if we're going to suspend a head coach like Belichick, you're suspended 2 games, you got to stay away, and they somehow come up with like burner phones to communicate because you're not supposed to have any communication. So now we're led to believe like if you meet in person, he can get all the information. But if he picks up the phone, he gets all the information. That's somehow okay. And also Warren Sharp with a tweet put out. So in the last 48 hours, the NFL deleted a tweet that said they sent saying Tom Brady works closely with Chip Kelly to put game plans together because that shouldn't be happening. And number 2, filed a copyright claim on a broadcast video showing the Eagles were false starting on multiple tush pushes. What is happening at the Shield? You're right. It seems like it's cover-up season for the NFL when, again, Joe, if you just follow the rules, the optics are fine. But it seems like, boy, we like the superstar power of Tom Brady being back in the NFL. And yeah, he's calling games. It could be a conflict of interest. Now he owns a football team. Now he gets information, can share with his team when nobody else can do that. But it's okay because he's Tom Brady. How did we get here?
Yeah, again, this is all self-inflicted by the NFL because it's Tom Brady. They would not allow this with any other player in the history of the game, Donnie. No other player would have been allowed to, be in a broadcast booth and then all of a sudden be part owner of a team and everyone think they would not have allowed this in a era, I guess, long gone here now, except when Tom Brady wants to do it. When Brady does it, here we go. If you thought the refs were Brady friendly back when he was playing, Donnie, that is nothing compared to what the NFL is doing, tripping all over themselves to allow this guy to basically be a spy for the Raiders organization and do it under the guise of, well, he's a broadcaster, right? So, I mean, there's no rules against that. Oh,
I mean, what's next for Tom Brady? Like, he's going to be on the practice field in a Raiders uniform. And after that, he's going to be holding a clipboard as the emergency 4th quarterback on Sundays here, an owner/operator on the sideline. We're getting that close at this point. It's amazing that, like, Tom Brady, you'd think would have self-awareness. Like, boy, this is a really bad look, and I'm bringing scrutiny on the organization. I probably should just step away from this and leave it up to the players. No, he's not doing that. It's almost like full gas. Like, being on a primetime football game in the coach's booth with a headset, you knew would be terrible optics, and he just didn't care at that point. More NFL news, notes, and topics coming your way next on a Wednesday Hump Day edition of The Early Line. Yeah, NFL news and notes. We love it. We love to talk about it right here on The Early Line. It's a Wednesday. It's Hump Day. We get it. Tomorrow night, we're going to have an NFL football game in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, who look really good against the Miami Dolphins, who look ready to fully implode. But before we get there, so many injuries. And we talked ad nauseum already this week, Joe, about the quarterbacks that we're saying. Who's actually starting? What year is it in the NFL? Yeah, we get that. But if you take a look at the Buccaneers, who opened up the season 2-0 so far, Calijah Kancey goes down with a pectoral injury, which is a devastating blow. One of the high risers at defensive tackle in the NFL. There could be a chance he comes back for the playoffs, but you're down September, October, November, and December, and probably done for the season. That's a devastating blow for the Buccaneers defensive line.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, Donnie, because this happens every year. Even though we're going, oh my goodness, look at all these injuries. It's just an unfortunate part of the game. I mean, imagine what Detroit felt like, right? When Aiden Hutchinson, they knew he was gone early in the season for the rest of the year. So, unfortunately, if things like this happen, Donnie, and they're always going to happen, kind of better it happens now than, let's say, in week 11 or 12, and then it rolls over into the following season and everything else. So, at least at this point, whether it be Burrow or you have an opportunity to get these guys back when it matters the most at the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens there. The Bucs, again, probably the lead dogs there in the NFC South, but never good to lose one of the better NFL players there, specifically defensive tackle. He did it all. He was fantastic, and he's going to be down for some time if he can even make a comeback. Next story we'll talk about is the Carolina Panthers. Look, you're hired to be fired in the NFL. It's just the way it is. But Dave Canales, I don't think ever got a fair shake there in Carolina. He'll be fired shortly here. Bryce Young, good luck with that organization. You never got surrounded with enough talent. Well, why are you talking about this, Donnie? We're only 2 games in. Number one, the Panthers look like they stink again. And number 2, the offensive line devastated with injuries here. Guard Robert Hunt tore biceps. Center Austin Corbett tore an MCL. Both headed to IR. Good luck, Panthers, in 2025. My goodness. Will they be the team is the last team to win a football game this year, Joe. I mean, this team, come on now. Goodness.
Oh, I know it's not good, but neither are the Dolphins, neither are the Giants. There are a lot of 0-2 teams, Donnie, that in which you just can't get behind. Injuries or no injuries, they're going to be a fade moving forward. Although I'll tell you, just like we witnessed Sunday against Arizona, and they didn't have those guys. They lost those guys by the time that game mattered in the fourth quarter anyway. The lot of backdoor covers could be coming. A lot of value watching this Carolina Panthers team, because as an offensive-minded guy with Canals, they still got some weapons offensively. Those empty netters alive and well, and those backdoor covers here with teams like Carolina moving forward.
It's crazy when you look at like NFL organizations. Like if you're a fan of the Panthers, like your season's basically already done. It's week number 3 coming up. Like, what do you do with yourself? Do you go back and watch some Clemson football? Do you buy into Chapel Bill down there in Carolina? I don't know, but my goodness, with that offensive line and that team struggling and that coaching staff and a hot-headed owner, probably not going to work out in the way for Dave Canales here.
I wouldn't know that, Donnie, as a Jet fan. I wouldn't know that as a Jet fan.
You guys are living high and mighty as Jets fans right now.
No idea what you're talking about, season being over in week 2. I'll say it again. The preseason is my favorite time of year with a team, like if I'm a Jets fan, probably for Carolina, because that is when hope reigns real, right? Like, yes, this is going to be it. Fields is going to be a good quarterback. Bryce, no. And then by week 2, Donnie, we're like, all right, next year, there's always next year. Well, who's available in the draft? That's the life of fans in the NFL, of teams that have absolutely no shot of winning anything.
Come on. Don't you remember the day you got Brett Favre, the day you got Aaron Rodgers? Like, times were so good for the Jets, man. We finally got our quarterback. We're going to do some damage here, have some fun. It's just the way it is. Hamstrings already creeping up on us once again. Every day we read about hamstrings. How about the Vikings placing Aaron Jones on IR due to a hamstring injury? He's down for multiple weeks. And, their starting quarterback, he's out for probably a month as well. The Vikings getting devastated with injuries early in the season here.
Yeah, not good. We saw this happen last year to the 49ers, right? It seems like every year, Donnie, there's a handful of teams that the injury bug just, it hits, and next thing you know, you're like, wow, can they sustain it? But again, the good news for the Vikings is offensively, they were going to tread water. It was the defense that was going to have to be successful in order to keep them in games throughout the season, and that's still the case here with the Minnesota Vikings.
How about the case with the Bengals signing Sean Clifford and Mike White to the practice squad here? Looks like we're going forward there with Jake Browning, and away you go into your season. My goodness, they got some good wide receivers. They got a bad defense, and I still don't know how the Jacksonville Jaguars actually lost that football game. It is what it is. It's the NFL. It's crazy at times. I love baseball. Joe Ranieri loves baseball. The Early Line loves baseball. The SportsGrid Network loves baseball. And that's what we do. We'll talk baseball in the month of September as we head into the playoffs, which start in October. For me as a Phillies fan, Red October, it's a lot of fun. It's crazy at Citizens Bank Park. Maybe this year, they won't get people at the New York Mets to get upset and maybe make a deeper run into the playoffs. That's neither here nor there, because tomorrow, Joe, we have football back. That's week number 3 in the NFL. And don't you remember I told you people out there, it goes fast. What happened to the preseason? That's done. Week number 1, so exciting. That's done. Week number 2, love this. That's already done. You are in week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to go fast. Enjoy the time that you have. Tomorrow, week 3 will be on deck. That's the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. 2 teams, easy to say, Joe Ranieri, going in opposite directions. You look at the line. It opened at 9.5. Bet all the way up to 12.5 at some outlets, but a little bit of a buyback right now to 11.5 at FanDuel, 11.5 at Bet365, and the Westgate out there in Las Vegas. If we look at the total, opened up at 48.5, now sits at 49.5. The tough part is we know Buffalo's better. We know Buffalo is at home, but also, do we have a knockout punch coming from the Buffalo Bills that ends that organizational run? I guess you could say for Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and your head coach Mike McDaniel. Or do we see the Miami Dolphins fight back and get a victory on Thursday night? That seems far-fetched right now.
Oh, no, that's never going to happen. It's never happened, Donnie. I mean, the first of all, the Miami Dolphins have not beaten the Bills in Orchard Park since 2016. So if you think this version is going into Buffalo on a short week and somehow beating Josh Allen, and also, listen, Tua, 2-13 straight up away from home against teams with an actual winning record in his career.
Oof.
So if he's not
Oof.
in sunny South Florida playing a less than 500 team, it usually doesn't end well with Tua here and the Miami Dolphins. Even though, Donnie, I mean, so far we've seen these night games here, Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night, right? Dogs are 6-2 against the number so far to start the year here, but I mean, let's be reasonable. This is the Dolphins we're talking about, going to a place and taking on a quarterback they have had zero success against over the years. Listen, people in Miami are praying it's a 42-10 game. So then Mike McDaniel doesn't even have to bother getting on the plane and come back to South Florida. They'll pack his stuff for him and send it, and he can relocate. That's how bad it is here in Miami.
And you look at the, odds to win the AFC East as of this morning. The Buffalo Bills, through 2 weeks of an NFL season, are minus 900. If we take a look at the updated numbers there, you see the Patriots 10-1, the Dolphins 35-1, and then 45-1 for the New York Jets. It's incredible. Like, we just started. Injuries happen in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills being bet like it's already over in the East, and maybe so. Now, tomorrow, as we take a look, very good weather in Buffalo compared to what it could be in November and December. But understand this total is sitting around a 49.5. Touchdowns are expected, and also the odds market does reflect that. Everybody's not plus money to score a touchdown. Take a look at Josh Allen as a quarterback, a minus 175 price. James Cook, who looked tremendous last week, even coming into the game with a hamstring issue, he was phenomenal. Minus 175 to score a touchdown. Then you see two Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane, plus 105 and plus 170. If we're looking at the touchdown market for you, Joe Ranieri, who cashes one in? It doesn't seem, it's one of those where I talk to myself and say, wait a minute, 175 and 175, they don't want you betting those guys, Joe. So those two guys will be in the end zone.
Yeah, well, there'll be a lot of folks in the end zone here, mostly because that defense is a hot mess for the Miami Dolphins. So, wide receivers looking good for Buffalo. Cook looking good. Allen looking good. The usual suspects. Dawson Knox looking good here. All of those guys are looking good here simply because the Dolphins are not going to be able to stop any of them. That secondary is gross. So Josh Allen going to let a few fly, I think, in this game here on Thursday night.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and watched the entire game yet for the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets, but they were basically on autopilot in that game. But here's the contrast that you want to use, right? Game number one, it was like, okay, well, the Buffalo Bills beat the Ravens in an unbelievable comeback. Understand this, coming into the season, Joe, the Ravens are supposed to be a top 3, top 5 defense. After game number one, I don't know how good the Ravens are. Flip on the tape where the Ravens then played a regular team, as I like to say, in the Cleveland Browns. They beat the tar off of that team. They had an unbelievable, ridiculous touchdown that Joe Flacco threw that should have been an interception. And at the end of the game, they had a Dylan Gabriel, nobody cares about touchdown drive. So in a sense, they go up 3 points to the Cleveland Browns. The reason I bring that up is the Miami defense isn't that good. And if Buffalo is going through like a hot knife through butter for a Jets defense, that's say what you want. As a defensive coordinator, as a head coach, who was supposed to be a decent defense, blasted them. They moved right through the Baltimore Ravens defense. Where does that leave the Dolphins defense, as Joe brings up, where they probably can't stop anybody in that secondary? Josh Allen, 233.5 as his passing prop, and a touchdown prop over 1.5 touchdown passes at a minus 154. That's my key right here. The Buffalo Bills offense doing maybe whatever they want against Miami's defense.
Well, they will because they've done it already 2 weeks to two much better defenses. And the crazy part, Donnie, is how they've been doing it. They have basically been running down the throats of the Ravens and the Jets, two teams that, certainly have been known to be able to stop the run. The Bills are using a power running game and then taking their shots down the field with Josh Allen at a crazy rate. Yeah, I think it's going to be a long night for Miami. How many stops are they truly going to get here?
Yeah, the one guy that you've been watching, like Tyreek Hill actually had a couple nice catches last week. Deep balls, Tua Tagovailoa underthrew him, made a nice comeback, which is that 40-plus game, where finally you saw him go over 30 yards. He had another 20-plus yard catch. Waddle looked okay, but I thought Devon Achane really was a difference maker last week, even in the loss against the New England Patriots. It feels like you're going to have to force feed him, and not just on the ground, but in the air. But then we talk about Tua Tagovailoa. You know what happens when you drop him back 40 times. It's going to be interceptions and it's going to be concussions, Joe.
Yeah. And that's always the fear with him, and it has been for a while. And he doesn't do well on the road against really good teams. Now, the Bills defense still a little banged up, so they might be able to take some shots. But the best way to do it, have a shot at winning this game and covering, is to keep Josh Allen on the sideline. I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel. What's that mean, Mike? Yeah, get into a shootout with Buffalo, see what happens. Over 50 points, you got to love that here.